I always tell people I talk about these stories because I keep hoping that at some point people will make better decisions by their children, how we procreate, how we bring children into this world. But committing violent acts against our children, there can be no excuse. There only can be accountability, long jail sentences, maybe even the ultimate penalty under law if it comes to that. But we got to start setting a standard and really, really judge criminals harshly who hurt, murder, and abuse our children. What I want to do here is give you guys a disclaimer if this is your first time on this channel and let you guys know before we start into our content. Here we go. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And this story comes out of the Bronx. And again, I continue to keep saying that I think we have to be more careful about how we procreate and bringing children into this world and just thinking everything is going to be okay. I think that it's better to bring children in marriages because at least we've made a commitment to each other. And maybe we have a financial plan for children, but just randomly having sex and making babies ain't working out so well for us. A young mother described, and I'm getting this information from dailymail.com, so thank you for the article. A young mother described by relatives as obsessed with demons has been charged with murdering her two young sons after their bodies were found in the bathtub of their apartment in a Bronx homeless shelter. That's a mouthful in itself. Let's break that down. Why do these stories always involve bathtubs? Yeah, you say violence against minors is getting worse. I agree. I absolutely agree. Two young sons, and they're calling her a young mother. I would love to know what her actual age. She's 22. She didn't need two kids. She don't need two kids, man. Like, I'm getting to a point to where I'm gonna just say that maybe we shouldn't be having kids under the age of 30 years old, men or women. This is getting bad. They keep getting desperate. Oh, they don't have the money and they didn't know what to do, y'all. They needed resources. No, you need to stop having sex and stop having kids. And she was in a homeless shelter. How, Sway? How do you end up in a homeless shelter with not one but two kids? That means you probably had financial issues before the second kid, before the first kid, which means you shouldn't have had any kids at all. Because you probably weren't financially stable to take care of yourself. But you know what people tend to do? They tend to have children to collect benefits off of the backseat of these children, and we call that hashtag babies for benefits. Because they're looking to get these children so that they can have Section 8, food stamps, housing, car vouchers, maybe get a little sympathy, get them a pat on the back. Maybe they can get them a happy Mother's Day card because now that they're mothers and they had a baby crawl out of their vajayjay, right now that they can get a pat on the back for doing that. Maybe a little child support, but for all the wrong reasons. And you're homeless, ma'am. That alone should have disqualified you for being a parent and a custodial parent at that. Dion Fleming, who was 22 years old, this idiot on the left-hand side, 22 years old, was charged with 2 counts of murder Sunday for allegedly stabbing her 3-year-old son by the name of Deshaun and 11-month-old Octavius to death. As a matter of fact, they actually gave their full names on a different website, and those children had different last names. I'll say that again. The children had different last names, which means these children probably had multiple fathers. This was at the shelter on Echo Place near Grand Concourse in Mount Hope. The boys who had initially been missed by authorities called to the apartment were found submerged in water, hidden underneath clothing, and stabbed numerous times. It is not clear if they died by the stabbing or the drowning. Sheesh. The children were discovered by Octavius's father, Columbus, Canada, who was 31 years old, who had been staying in a parked car outside the subsidized housing building after getting into a fight with Fleming the night before. I'm going to read that again. The children were discovered by the father, 31 years old. The father had been staying in a parked car outside the subsidized housing building. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. You know, maybe it's my dyslexia. Maybe it's my reading comprehension is really low. That sounds like he was homeless too, unless I'm wrong. Staying in a parked car. Sir, I don't care how attractive you think this homeless woman was. You shouldn't have been plugging this chick, making babies, if both of y'all are damn homeless. Like, how do you put two dummies together and you end up with no place to live? Police had arrived at the apartment more than a half hour earlier after receiving reports of an unnamed woman acting erratically. But did not discover the children in the bathtub, despite the domicile being in a shelter designated for families. When they say families, you know they don't mean families. That means children, chicks with kids, and no men. So families, because they actually referred to, let me back it up so y'all can see this. The news actually referred to this picture with this woman and this child as a family photo. That's not a family. That's a broad with kids. That's a chick with kids. It's not a family photo. Anyway, instead they found Fleming lying naked on the bed with the oven on and the home partially flooded to the point where it reached out into the hallway, neighbors said. Despite this, officials missed the boys' bodies. Fleming was taken to a nearby hospital for psychiatric evaluation and was arrested as a person of interest. She remained there Monday morning when charges were announced. And I don't want to hear about no, she was mentally disturbed. I don't give a damn. You hurt kids, you need to pay. Period. Hashtag no more excuses. Accounts from relatives and neighbors suggest that Fleming had been struggling with the pressures of parenthood and had been talking obsessively about demons while looking increasingly disheveled and downcast. I don't care. She needs the fullest penalty under law. Let's skip some of this. At 6 a.m. of the massacre, Fleming, better known as Brenda, wrote online, "It's only one true God, and I repent from all wrongdoings and negative influence, leaving all things that no longer serve me. Thank you for your mercy." Just, why do they always do stupid stuff and want to include God and Jesus and the Lord and the Holy Spirit? You do stupid stuff, but then you want to blame it on God. Why are homeless people horny? I'm sorry, but that is just not a sexy thing. If you can't bathe properly, you ain't got a roof over your head, don't know where your next meal is coming from, and you thinking about getting an orgasm. I don't know what the fuck is so sexy about that. I really don't. But I agree with you, ma'am, in the chat. I agree. Now, let's keep going. Police arrested Fleming, who they said was acting erratically before they realized that the two youngsters had been stabbed. The horrific incident occurred on the third-floor apartment in a family shelter near in around 7:20 p.m. on Saturday. Emergency services were called to the scene twice, and only on the second trip did they find the young children dead. Witnesses living in the building told the news that they saw the frantic mother holding her head and screaming, "What did I do? What did I do?" in the hallway just moments before the police arrived. The children's father, meanwhile, told police that he had been in an argument with Fleming the day before. He left the home a day prior and had stayed in his car overnight, from what they understand. Octavius's great aunt, Casey Canada, told the news that Fleming had grown increasingly unstable since birthing her first kid 3 years ago and had come to believe that her children were demons. So y'all knew all of this beforehand, but didn't call to get her kids taken away from her. She told the news she thought the kids were devils. She said she was afraid of them. She definitely loved them for sure. That wasn't fake. Why would you even say that? Fleming was taken into custody around 7:50 p.m. after officers initially were sent to the residence after receiving a call complaining about her erratic behavior. Upon arrival, police said that they found a woman nude in the kitchen, lighting objects on fire. They stayed at the scene for 30 minutes before taking her into custody, apparently not realizing that the children were dead in the bathroom. Just 10 minutes after officers left, the boy's father returned and discovered that the two children were unresponsive in the apartment and called officers back a second time at around 7:55 p.m. Before their arrival, neighbors helped the dad pull the boys from the tub, which was filled with water and covered with a bed sheet, and attempted to resuscitate them. They were then transported to Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, where they were pronounced dead, according to police. Speaking outside the building at 246 Echo Place on Saturday at 11 p.m., Deputy Chief Louis Del something of Patrol Borough Bronx said that the mom was in custody as a person of interest. They're repeating some of this information. They say the medical examiner would determine the cause of death. Anyway, let me go ahead and give you guys the fair uses. That's the majority of it. So here we go. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If you guys would do me a favor and click that thumbs up. We want to have one thumb up for everybody watching, so I always appreciate when you guys will do that. Smash that thumbs up. Share these videos, please. Here we go. Let's get it.
Police have officially charged a mother for the murder of her two young children.
The boys are found Saturday night with multiple stab wounds inside their apartment at a family shelter in the Bronx. CBS News' Ania Maldonado has the very latest on the investigation.
22-year-old Damone Fleming of the Bronx has now been charged with the murder of her children, identified overnight as 3-year-old Deshawn Fleming and 11-month-old Octavius Fleming, Canada. Monday morning, residents in the Bronx neighborhood stopping by this growing memorial sitting outside the Echo Place family shelter, leaving messages behind for the two boys.
Yeah, I know the family. All our kids used to play outside. The father was a great dad. The kids were always playing.
A family friend holding back tears tells us the mother needed help.
I'm quite sure of some things that I'm not going to disclose, but she just needed help.
The mother accused of killing her two young children tonight in the psych ward at Elmhurst Hospital in Queens. 22-year-old Damone Fleming now waiting to face a judge after her two sons were found stabbed and submerged in a bathtub filled with water. One was just 11 months old, the other just 3 years old. It happened over the weekend in the Mount Hope neighborhood of the Bronx. With the latest, here's Eyewitness News reporter Josh Odier.
On a windswept block off the Grand Concourse, dozens of candles are shining bright tonight. More candles than two little boys ever had a chance to blow out. Alongside teddy bears, they never had a chance to hug.
That's the young lady that was walking with her two little kids the other day, but she didn't look like she would harm her kids.
All day outside the city-managed family shelter where the unthinkable unfolded over the weekend, neighbors struggled to understand.
Just don't take the lives of the lives that you gave. You know what I'm saying? Like that's strong, you know, like that's rough. You don't do that, you know, your life is never going to be the same.
Deshaun Fleming was only 3. His little brother Octavius just 11 months old. And in this recent family photo, you'd never guess the apparent turmoil raging within their mother, Damone Fleming. But Saturday evening, cops say the 22-year-old stabbed both of her children repeatedly in the neck and torso, then submerged their bodies in a bathtub and covered them up with piles of dirty laundry before trying to set their apartment on fire.
New information this morning about the horrifying deaths of 2 little boys in the Bronx. Investigators were seen taking evidence out of the building where police say they were found dead after being stabbed.
Oh, their mother is now officially being charged with their death. Eyewitness News reporter Derek Waller is live in the Mount Hope section with the very latest. Good morning, Derek.
Shirlene Ken, this morning murder charges for the young woman who police say murdered her own children. Now, outside the building here on Echo Place, you see behind me these balloons, flowers, and candles. In fact, at this early hour, we just saw a woman put a candle down here on the sidewalk in memory of those 2 children who've now passed away. Now, take a look at this video of investigators removing bags of evidence from the home on Sunday. 24-year-old Damone Fleming is now charged with 2 counts each of murder, intention to murder, and depraved indifference. She remains in the hospital after undergoing a psychiatric evaluation. The horrifying 911 call came in Saturday night for 2 children ages 11 months and 3 years old, unresponsive in the bathtub, submerged in water under some clothes. First responders said the boys had been stabbed multiple times. Cops were initially called here because the mother was naked, ranting and setting things on fire in the kitchen. Now, after the gruesome discovery, neighbors say the father tried to rescue his kids, but it was too late.
So they came and nobody said that, hey, this woman has kids. This lady's in here acting crazy, setting stuff on fire, ain't got no clothes on. And she has kids? Like, that should be the very next thing. And she has kids. Where are the kids at? That would have been They don't ask enough questions. Like, that's irritating. Like, I've had people tell me I ask too many questions. I don't think there's a such thing. I like to be informed, okay? Maybe some of y'all out there are like me. I like to be informed. I'm going to ask my damn questions.
Disturbing new details tonight in the shocking murder of 2 young brothers. Tonight, a Bronx neighborhood mourns for a 3-year-old boy and his 11-month-old sibling. They were stabbed repeatedly. Today, investigators removed bags of evidence from the crime scene as people continue to question what went wrong.
Tonight, we have heartbreaking new developments in a tragedy rocking a neighborhood in the Bronx. 2 children found stabbed to death, their mother arrested by police. The unfathomable crime scene playing out inside a family shelter. And tonight, we have new information on what first drew police to the apartment on Echo Place. And there are questions tonight about that response. News 4's Adam Harding reports from Mount Hope.
Well, just an incredibly difficult story. The victims here, 3 years old and 11 months old. Within the hour, we got an update from investigators. Tonight, they tell us the children's mother is in custody, but has not been charged.
Tonight, this Bronx neighborhood is reeling. A memorial outside 246 Echo Place now growing for the 2 little boys killed late Saturday. Investigators taking their 22-year-old mother into custody.
It was horrible. It was horrible. It was very horrible. It was heartbreaking.
Shannon Holyfield lives next door. She says she heard an argument, then saw the father carrying both children in desperate need of help.
He was screaming hysterically, screaming, "Help me." And I came in to open my door and I see him coming down the hall with the 2 boys in his arms. He was scared. He was, he was hysterical. It's very horrible. It was sad. It was really sad. It was messy. It was selfish. It was just wrong.
Police say they were first called to the home because the children's mother was acting erratically. It wasn't until after they took her away by ambulance they got multiple 911 calls urging officers to return to the scene immediately. The children were discovered in a bathtub suffering from multiple stab wounds.
Patrol officers returned to the apartment where they found an 11-month-old baby boy and a 3-year-old male unresponsive with stab wounds.
Somebody else caught that in the chat also. They were quick to show up. A crazy naked woman setting some shit on fire. You'll go look at that and go investigate that. And somebody in the chat said they didn't go turn off the water in the bathtub, which means they would have found the kids in the bathtub. It was flooding. So they had to be called back a second time. They didn't look enough. They didn't ask enough questions. They just saw some naked woman. Oh, okay. Well, okay. I guess there's nothing to see here. Deuces. Nobody asked about the kids.
Multiple stab wounds about the body. Officers and another family member attempted to resuscitate the children until the ambulance arrived. I don't think that's something you can ever get used to. We all process in our own ways. The police officers responded. I think they did a great job. And, it's something that, that they're going to have to live with and think about probably for the rest of their lives.
I don't know how he's saying they did a good job, sir. And I'm going to skip this. This is the full police interview. I don't really see the point of playing that. But how can he say that they did a great job when they came by and saw this mother acting so erratically in a shelter? And matter of fact, if you're in a shelter, I actually think that you should have less permissions, if I'm not mistaken. If you're destroying the property that actually helps house homeless people, they should have a way to be able to say, you know what, legally we can go in here and go investigate. We feel like something is wrong. Maybe you guys might disagree with that. Maybe you feel like that's a violation of their privacy. But I think when you hear fire, crazy naked person, burning up stuff, flooding, that should give you the right and a warrant to be able to go search immediately, go find out what's wrong, look through that whole house, and somebody should have mentioned, oh, by the way, she got kids. That is a failure on everybody's part. Somebody either failed to relay that information or they just didn't check. I'm not going to blame this on the police. I'm going to blame this on the biological mother and blame this on the biological father, because they shouldn't have ended up homeless, number one. He shouldn't have had babies with this woman if they knew that for a long time that she had mental issues. And on top of that, why are you having kids and being homeless? Why are you thinking about sex and ain't got a roof over your damn head? Just a weird thing for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. To those children, RIP to those boys. They deserve so much more of an opportunity to grow up and become something great. That is not a family photo. That is a chick with kids, and she should have never been a mother. But I hope that she gets the fullest penalty under law. No excuses. Thank you guys so much for joining channel membership, for supporting what we do, leaving a comment, clicking the thumbs up, for everything that you guys do. Just know that from my heart to yours, I am truly grateful. Share this, the AFC podcast, where we do true crime news, and we advocate for children first. You guys have a great day. Have a great night. We'll see you guys on the next story. All right. Later. Peace.